Hey guys, they're Terran here back with another Last Epoch pre-launch video. The Last Epoch launch is imminent, and whilst we wait for the servers to come online, they've put up patch notes for the launch, and these notes are huge. One of the longest patch notes I've ever seen in any game. I won't be going through all the changes. We will find out in the game very soon, but let's go over the TLDR. And I'll also put the patch note down in the description below. So for the developer patch notes, they're shutting down the servers starting February 21st, and it's 24 hours before the launch. I'm here in Australia, so the time that I'll be able to jump on is at 4 AM for the launch. We have the list of changes. So first is the new masteries, Falconer and Warlock, with all of the skills that are coming to those specific classes, those two masteries. All of them are outlined. I won't go through all of them. We have the item factions. The item factions, which is the trading guilds. So the Circle of Fortune is like your increased magic find and loot find faction, and you have the trading faction. So if you join the Circle of Fortune, you won't be able to trade. If you join the Merchants Guild, you will be able to trade, but you won't get increased magic find. So those are the two distinctions that you have, and there's some limitations on what you can do in those factions. We have new features. So we have Resonance. Resonance is specifically for trading between friends. Essentially, you'll be able to gain these items, and these items will allow you to trade with your friend if you see an item that you pick up. Then we have Cycles. Cycles are the seasons of Last Epoch, or leagues if you played Path of Exile. We have full offline mode, so you can play the game on full offline. We have huge visual upgrades based on the terrain and the daytime nighttime cycles. These changes look really good, and compared to the actual early access of the game, these visual changes look way better as well. So we're going to find out how good they look when the game launches. There's lighting changes. We have extra cinematics for the campaign. So 8 other cinematics added throughout the campaign chapters. So I'll probably be playing the launch and the campaign again, even though I've played it several times, just to see what cinematics they've added for the launch. We have endgame system changes to monoliths and corruptions. So we have the monolith endgame system. Once you get to higher endgame, you can unlock the empowered monoliths and the corruption system. And essentially, they're increasing the scaling of high corruptions so that it becomes more difficult. This is mentioning changes to the campaign, different enemy types and things like that. Then we have changes to the dungeon, certain things giving more XP for certain dungeons. Then we have the Monolith of Fate. So once you conquer certain timelines in the Monolith, you get a blessing. These blessings have been buffed. It looks like general buffs across the board. Some of them are slight changes, but some of them you get increased armor, increased resistance, higher corruption scaling. So higher corruption will be harder. Then we have full controller support, so you can play on a controller. Okay, they've added a new affix type, which is called Parry. Parry is a defensive mechanic that grants you a chance to negate all damage. It's kind of like dodge, but parrying still counts as being hit, and as a result, ailments can still apply to you when you get parry a hit. Parry has no effect against damage over time effects and is capped at 75%, but currently it's not possible to reach the cap with available resources. They've kind of reworked how stun avoidance works. You can have a read through this. I'm not going to go through this. Then we have changes for every single class, for every single skill. They've got passive changes, Primalist, Mage, Rogue, and Sentinel. Then there's new items, 13 unique items, and unique and set item changes. So there's all the changes announced down below. Then we have new base items for all the different types, all classes, belts, boots, gloves, rings, and weapons. Class items, so class specific. Again, there's changes and new additions to those. And then also new enemy changes. So new enemy types or replaced enemies. So you'll be seeing new visuals on enemies. You'll be seeing new visuals across the board for enemies, for your minions as well, which is really refreshing to see. And in different chapters of the campaign, you'll be seeing different monsters and added and removed. They've changed how ranged enemy behavior works. So several ranged enemies now move more between attacking to make combat feel more dynamic. Other changes, all enemies have 2% more health and 1% more damage. Increased enemy health globally above level 60 by around 5% at level 80 and around 25% at level 100. So essentially the enemies are slightly harder to kill later in the game. Visual updates to all of the different enemy types. Slight UI updates, which is really cool. Changed the UI and icons as well. So sprite updates. Item tooltips design have been updated and visually redesigned to show larger item art and contain better prompt information and options. Better sounds. Okay, then you've got a lot of bug fixes as well, and bug fixes for each class. I absolutely can't wait for the official launch of the game. I've been playing Last Epoch on and off for about a year. I have about 120 hours in the game, and the changes that they've made so far and over the past year have been incredible to see. For launch, I'm still deciding on whether to go on Primalist for the Druid class, Sentinel for the Void class, or Rogue for the Falconer. I've limited my options down to 3 out of the 15 masteries. I think because of how much hype there is for Falconer and Warlock, Falconer might be it, but we'll have to see. Leave your comments down below on what class and mastery you will be picking. I can't wait to see you all in the Terra. As always, have an awesome day. Bye for now.